Hi everyone, welcome to Talk About Life in YouTube and podcast. And you're with me here with Mr. Brian from Canada. And Brian is going to talk about review of 2020. And today is the 21st of December 2020. We're just a few days away from 2021. Hopefully, 2021 is going to herald a new time, a new life for all of us when the shroud of this dark clouds like is blown away. All of us are just waiting. So I'm so glad to have Brian reach out to me in Canada, and Canada and Singapore. I think you've got to take 2 days and 3 days or even 4 days of flight if it's in a deep part of Canada. So it is the pandemic that um, uh, kept the world together through technology. So today I would like to invite him to review 2020 and to explain to listeners and viewers who are just tuning into the program. 20 Talk About Life is a channel whereby you share the significant part of your lives and document it as a gift. Now, this platform is for you, it's not for me. It's created for you to document your life for perpetuity. Because in the internet world, there's no concept of space, there's no concept of time. So this gift is for you, and likewise for Brian today, I would like to give him this gift, and the world will give back to him for giving the world his gift to you to tell his life story in review of 2020. Hopefully, all of us can learn something from each other in conversations. And I always say, conversations are education. We think we know each other, but we don't. And we think we know everything because technology is in our fingertips. But honestly, we don't know everything from alpha to omega. We don't really know. So that's why I'm humbled to meet a lot of people on this channel. And today we've got Brian, who's going to talk to us about his review of his life and the various aspects of his life that he's able to share with all of us to learn something and to tell the world, hey, you are not alone and you don't walk through life alone. We're here with you. Thank you, Brian, and welcome to Singapore. Brian, could you say hi and introduce yourself to the world?
Yes, Paris, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Hey guys,
Welcome to the warm weather of Singapore.
sweet. I love it. So yeah, my name is Brian. I am coming from Toronto, Canada, and I have a list of questions that I'm going to answer here, and they're about 2020 and my 2020. I'm going to talk about my career and business. Sales wise, I do sales. In 2020, we did significantly more sales than in 2019, and I'll kind of break down exactly what happened. So I do door to door sales, selling home security in Canada. And it's something that I've done for 5 years. I've done pretty well at it. And this year we weren't allowed to go door to door, COVID. And um, it was a huge mix up, a huge shake up from the way, anyone was doing
Okay,
sales
Brian,
in the industry before.
hold the horse. Now tell us, how did 2020 started before the lockdown, before like in February, March, at that time when things were like going well. Tell me how you were at that time. And your
So I actually run a summer program. So we were inactive in that time.
yeah,
So I run a seasonal program. We do sales and we do it for a 4 month period. We go really hard for those 4 months and then we take 8 months off. So in February, when COVID just happened, our business wasn't in, we weren't selling. If that makes sense. Um, but anyway, so the world shut down. We couldn't go door to door, and so we started selling over the phones. Like a lot of people in sales, I bet they went to over the
yeah,
phone
yeah.
sales. And for the first week, probably 15 people over the phones, zero, 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 all week. And
At that time, it was in a period of the first lockdown. Okay,
Yeah.
now before we go into that, before we go into the zero part, for the clarity of myself to visualize how you went through, when the announced, because we don't hear a lot of news in Canada. I mean, the only person I know in Canada is Justin Trudeau, the good-looking guy, right? Okay, now,
Yeah, people like them.
yeah, okay, yeah, I do. I just want to know, like, how did it happen? When the announcement came, did you feel it was real? Did you feel that it's going to go away? Did you have any confusion? Did you think that, hey, this is not going to be serious? Now tell me what went through your mind. I think that's the critical point before the company goes into a different model. What's that critical point of like that moment of intervention, of the pivot?
Honestly, it happened quite quick. It was not more than like 4 or 5 seconds where we made our pivot. So the owner of the company told me, "Hey, we won't be allowed to go door to door for a very long time." And my goal was still the same. Like I still had my goal of 1,000 accounts for our region. I was like, okay, we can't go door to door, whatever. How are we gonna sell 1,000 accounts? How can we sell? And he said we could do over the phone. And then like instantly, I'm like, cool. Like I've never done that before. and and so like now my mission was still the same, but hey, we're gonna try this different outlet, and here we go. And I was kind of excited, to be honest, when COVID hit, and a week in, I wasn't as excited because no one had sold. We were trying something new. We haven't proven
But did,
anything,
did, did you
and
did you feel, because you are an entrepreneur, right? And you
yes.
drive your sales, you drive your revenue, you depend on that because no one is going to give you a paycheck. And when that announcement came, I mean, I suppose it's quite serious because people are looking at the news worldwide, right? Like each country is starting to, the domino is going to like fall. Next one, next one, next one. The whole domino of the world is falling. The cards are just falling. Can you imagine? You think back, and it's like, okay, now it's Canada. Now it's going to be our town. I just want to know, like, when that hit, was it real to you? Was it like you thinking that, oh, that you're a really cool guy, it's gonna be okay, we're gonna try something? Oh, did you feel that, yeah, the next few months it is really going to be serious? Now, how did it, I want you to explain because it has an impact on the listeners. People are going through and struggling through. I want them to really hear what went on, in your mind. Yeah.
Well, I guess I was quick to pivot because it wasn't the first time thinking about this. Like, but way before I got the news, it had gone into my head like, whoa, coronavirus, door to door, we're not going to be allowed to. What's going to happen? Yeah. So I guess kind of maybe I already went through the phases of shock and same reaction that
Okay,
everyone
but it
has.
was fast. Okay. Good. So we
Um,
get the point. So I can now I can understand. It's like a lot of companies had this problem of pivoting. So you're one
oh
of the
yes,
unique. That's what I really wanted to hear because it comes from the top, right? If you have the top, like a team leader, a departmental head, a CEO, and the head of an entrepreneurship, now the top makes a difference, right? And if you had struggled, can you imagine the people were working with you? They would have been totally lost. But I think because you pivoted fast and the rest of it followed. So did it look like, yeah, it was a smooth sailing, I could pivot because let's just do it. And did your age help you because you're like young and energetic and you're ready to go? Did it help you?
yes, I mean, I have no idea if my age did help me. I'm 29 years old,
Yeah.
um, and
As
it
opposed
maybe
to
did.
someone
Yeah,
who's like 92, who's in the old folks home, they would have been like so fearful because the government is asking them to stay in, right? I mean, that age group makes a difference.
right. Yeah, you're totally right.
So tell
Um,
us about the pivot.
yeah, the pivot came quick, but
Yeah.
it's not like in that moment when the pivot happened. all is okay.
Mhm.
In fact, even a week after we pivoted, we had zero results, and we had zero results. When I say that, it's a compounding of zero. It's zero results for 15 people. So it's different if one person in the team is not having success, but
It's like the
there was
whole
no
company.
map laid
Yep.
out.
Yep.
There was no everyone like
Yeah.
and honestly it triggered in me as the leadership. It triggered in it just like the realization I don't know what I'm doing. Like I need help. I'm a beginner. It kind of triggered this beginner mindset. And I reached out to during Corona, um, man, way more people than I've ever reached out to collaborate
Collaborate.
to some people I paid them, some people I didn't. But I think this year, what was different this year from last year was yeah, the sense of we don't know what we're doing. Let's embrace that and the beginner mindset that comes with it, um, and we'll go from there. And when looking back at the end of the season, almost doubling our sales from the previous season, or more than doubling it rather. That mindset was different this year than it was last year, and
Wow.
um,
No,
yeah,
yeah.
so
And I'm particularly interested, being a business background myself, like, the sales effort that you put in. Because you told me that, traditionally we work like really, really hard for 4 months, and then you don't work for the rest of the year, right? Which is so different from Singapore. You really, really work throughout the month because of the weather. There isn't any winter here, you gotta go work. But tell me, because of this pandemic, because everybody like just worked extra hard, because you have this impending imminent threat just coming to you, like you've got to really go out and grab. So tell me, is there any different in the way that you train your staff, spoke to your staff, motivate them, let them like not be disappointed, but yet go for it? How did you, because you're the leader of the group, what
yeah,
make different to motivate a
so
team of people who could be demoralized and in fear and in uncertainty? We're talking about times whereby everything is just pushed off tangent. In the times
right.
of huge business, I should say, it's like a business crisis whereby at the end you emerge stronger and you emerge successful. And I want you to tell the world, you emerge stronger, you emerge more successful than before, pre-pandemic, which is a huge story. And I want people to hear, how did you take a team of 15 people who have no sales, and you with your leadership, how did you like kind of like change their view of the world and this relationship of behavior with the world?
Yeah,
Get
so
some
to
tips.
tell you
Get some tips from you.
succinctly,
The first
it
success
was
story I hear of 2020.
thank you. So it really what it was burning the boats. So I'll tell you what I mean. I'll tell you the rest of the story to the summer. So we got on the phones and um, eventually we started figuring it out. And we were doing about 25 sales per week. At that time, we had about 25 sales reps, and with 25 sales per week. And so it was all right, but we got to a point where it was just time to burn the boats, and that was when we were allowed to go door to door again. So here we built this operation over the phones, and typically we would start door to door selling May 1st. June 15th, we got the green light, um, and so basically I stood before everyone and I said, guys, we're stopping this over the phone sales and we're going door to door. And I went from 25 sales reps to 8 overnight. And so in the pandemic, where
Why did you go
um,
to 8?
because everyone quit, a lot of people quit because the stakes went up. We were going from a place where, in the comfort of your own home, where you're not doing anything already, you can come and sell and learn sales, and a lot of people enjoyed it and got a lot out of it. But now you're gonna have to leave your home in the middle of the
In the
pandemic, go
pandemic.
across the country, and work. And so, long story short, with those 8 sales reps, in week 1 of going door to door, we sold 70 units. So with a third of the people, we tripled our results. So it was a lot less people making a lot more money. And yeah, so for the time that we were out, we only had 2.5 months. And so how to get a lot out of your team and out of your people. The concept of burning your boats and yeah, the concept of burning your boats was huge for us because we went from 25 people to the 8 most committed people in the group. And so we cut all the fat in our environment immediately. Got Yeah, it was just more of a growth environment. It was more it contributed to what we were doing, the people, more so than it did before. And then the other thing was um, creating that. Um, I hope no one on my team watches this, but creating sometimes it's a false sense of opportunity. Like, hey guys, we only have 2.5 months out here. You would typically have 4 months in order to make the same amount of money that you need to make to fund your lifestyle. You have 2.5 months, go. And that type of environment, it really breeds high performance. And yeah, everyone had a blast.
Now, I want you to explain the concept of burn the boat. And I think a lot of companies going through now, they've gone through or they will go through in 2021 because we don't know how long this is going to last, right? Now, tell me the pain of burning the boat and how did it happen? Did you make an announcement? Did you have this list, or did you just throw in to say that, hey, lucky draw, and then pick up the lot, or people just volunteered? How did it go?
Yeah, it was tough. It like I went from 25 sales reps to eight.
Yeah,
Like, who wants that? No one does.
yeah,
And so the decision to do it, it was tough, but I knew it would breed high performance. And so yeah, the concept of burning your boats was there's no other option. Like, you guys are going to come out into this house, and we had a ton of fun. We had a professional cook. It was a mansion style house.
I see.
And,
Okay,
it was a ton of fun as well. But
okay.
um, yeah, I mean, they are full commission sales reps as well. So the environment just kind of has that built into it as well, where it is do or die. Like, you can come and not sell,
Yeah,
but that would
yeah,
suck.
yeah,
And so
yeah.
yeah.
Wonderful. So this is the outset of I should say the first half of 2020, right? So you pivoted and you kind of change your model of your business. You burn the boat, and then the people who were still with you, um, they kind of compressed their motivation and their efforts in a smaller time space, and then they went for it, right? And they made that jump. Um, so I think this is a wonderful story. This is a wonderful story. I mean, I believe a lot of action must have happened in there. You know, a movie must be made during this time. You know, a lot of stories must be told. So I think a lot of companies are going through that, but I think a lot of companies sink because they couldn't handle crisis. They couldn't handle crisis, and I think you also, because you are in a very highly performing business in sales, and you had some of these experts who came in to kind of like supported you and the group, right? And I think this is so needed for a lot of people who are crashing, in many ways, either business, personal, mental health, etc. The kind of support. And I'm so glad that you share this with us. And I would like to just interject to kind of reaffirm, your pivoting. Of towards the success that actually you landed successfully, like Tom Cruise, I can imagine, was like Mission Impossible, like run and run and run, right? He saw that he's going to jump, and he only had got he's only got one chance because he's jumping from one building to the other, right? As opposed to,
Right.
it's almost like the Tom Cruise movie, like there's no safety net, let's go guys. Let's go for your
Yeah,
life.
absolutely.
And it's like this jump from one side to the other side with no safety net, because you guys are not going to have any paychecks, right? Because you
So
guys are entrepreneurs. Yeah.
Yeah, just one thing to add. The
Yeah,
government of Canada was giving away
yeah.
$2,000 a month to everyone who wasn't working. And
Wow.
by these sales reps, so I really have to tip my hat to each and every individual who came out, because they could have easily sat on the couch and made $2,000 a month. And if they were coming, they wouldn't be able to claim that
I
$2,000 from the
see.
government, and they would
Oh
have to
my
work.
God. So it was really like the carrot and the stick, and they chose the stick instead, knowing that jumping across the building without a net, whereby they could have just sat there and then, okay, come on, give me a check, right? Which a lot of people did. So, let's give
Yeah,
Kevin and your
I tip
team
my hat
a
to.
round of applause.
Yeah, absolutely. I tip my hat to them, and no one who came out regretted it. In fact, people who didn't come out that were part of those 25 did, that I spoke to since then, and but yeah, those, yeah, it says a lot about those people for them to burn their boats like that. And so yeah, the concept of, the more you have to sacrifice in order to get where you're going really does um, have an understated influence on
So
your
that's the
motivation.
code, that's your code for 2020. The things
You
that you
got it.
have
Yeah.
to sacrifice, right, in order to get something on the other side, and knowing the risk involved. Tell us more. So then there's this people who came in to support you. Some of this, and then their performance were peak, right? Tell us, those of us who are not in the sales team, what does peak performance look like?
What does peak performance look like? It looks like unity. When the whole sales team was on their game, one individual would reach a height that no one had reached. But if people were off on the team,
Yep.
there would be no it, there that there would be no one pushing the bounds of what was possible on the team. And so, yeah, getting everyone on the same wavelength and in sync was huge, because that's when you're able to, you know, foster competition between people. Because, hey, you trained this morning, last night, the same way that that guy did, and you've been doing it for the last week. You know, he's no better than you. You put in the, competition. Also came out. One understated thing too is having an enemy for your team. If there
Tell
is
me.
an
Yeah.
enemy, that is high perform. If there's an enemy, they will perform higher for sure.
Who is the
And
enemy? Is it an imaginary enemy, or was it
yeah,
yeah? How do you do it?
I mean, it really depends. If anyone's watching this and leads their own organization, or a sales organization, or any kind of where competition would be a positive thing to have,
Yeah.
create your own enemy. It can
Great.
be the other team on the same.
Wow. Yeah.
Create one, and
I love
for
this
us, it
concept.
was. Yeah, for us, it was.
Yeah.
It, so
You are racing
yeah,
against your own enemy, and that kind of keeps you on your toes, running forward, right?
absolutely.
Yeah.
And it creates unity amongst everyone as well, because we have a common enemy.
Yeah.
So let's go out and get them. And how do we get them? We both sell as many as we can today, kind of thing. And,
Okay, interesting. And that is a very good business concept that I've never heard. I mean, it's got to be in 2020 textbook.
absolutely.
Yeah, and tell us how else are you? So that was in mid part of June, right? And then you were
Mhm.
starting to look at the sales, and the numbers are coming in, right? That's where you stop, right? So the numbers were coming in, then what happened?
So we kept doing the same things, keeping the same. Um, what was really important was keeping the same schedule and keeping them training every single day, even though they're earning more money than they've ever earned. They're selling, like, their egos are at their all-time high. Their resistance to it is still there. But keeping consistency in the schedules is
Yeah,
so important.
yeah, consistency.
And so we did that for until the end of August. And um, for the people who were available and weren't going back to school, we continued to work until there was never a drop in performance, but we continued
Wow.
until the end of October. And
Wonderful. And tell me also, so throughout, so you actually completed that allowed period of time of 2.5 months because you're only allowed this window, right, to go door to door sales. So are
mhm.
you already completed this 2.5 months at this point?
um, yeah, at the end of August, we completed the 2.5 months.
Okay, yeah. So now,
At the end
how
of
do you
August.
review? How do you review your whole experience? I mean, number one, crisis management. You're looking at numbers. You're a business owner. You're an entrepreneur. You look at the numbers. The numbers dive down, and you look at people, right? Profits, people. I mean, three P's, right? People, and then performance. People were like, okay, they didn't know what to do. They were lost, but you quickly pivoted them, and then you burned the boat. You left from 25 to 8, and then performance. You were able to kind of like garner the energy and the vision, and then go for it. I think that's like a huge story to tell. 2020.
Thank you, thank you.
I couldn't believe it.
Honestly, with
This story
2020,
has got to be featured.
thank you.
So how do you how
But yeah, with
what
20,
have you learned from this experience now that you're kind of like uh, I mean the curtains are down, you've got your money and the team is going off their lives again. How do you review this whole experience now that we are in December?
yeah, I was gonna say the thing that 2020 taught me for sure was the power of the unity, and power of people working together, and the power of collaboration for sure.
Collaboration.
I'm heavily involved with a nonprofit organization called JCI Toronto, and
Yeah,
the amount of collaboration that we've seen this year because of COVID,
yeah,
because online, just like this,
yeah.
has been the game changer for this year for a lot of people. The people who I know, who crushed it in 2020, they collaborated, and yeah, they just had help from a lot of other people.
Okay, tell me, and also people who are trying to pick some of these tips up. When you say collaboration, is a big word, right? How do you collaborate and how did you leverage on collaboration? And how did you turn collaboration into a business opportunity or a business space?
Yeah, so the way I personally did it, last year in my industry, there's always been this like, I'm good at my job, I'm really good at it, and I can teach my sales reps better than anyone else.
Mhm.
And there was none of that this year because I knew I did. It was brand new, right? And
Yeah.
so how did I do it? I simply reached out to other sales managers who did
Mm.
not work at the same company, but we were friends, and they were selling over the phone and whatever. And they would even sometimes, out of the generosity of their heart, do a training with my team. And then
Mm.
it was just the power of that was just amplified for 25 people.
Yeah.
And so that's the way I did it. And you'd be so surprised when you reach out to someone and you genuinely just don't know the answer and seeking for help. People want to help, and they'll you'll be surprised with what they come up with. I guarantee you.
And I can also say it's based on a pre relationship that you already have built.
Absolutely, yes.
So that was the foundation of any future collaboration. So that is something that you have built, right?
Mhm.
And how important was that? And how did you do it? You must have got like all these networks.
Yeah, I mean, one day you look back and like I'm starting to get gray hair. Like I'm not young either, but like for anyone listening to this, you'd be surprised. Your uncle, your roommate's friend, and
Yeah,
the people in your network, odds are you're not utilizing it on.
yeah.
And yeah, it's definitely important, the relationship that you have built. So leverage your network, leverage the people you have a good relationship with, and their
Leverage on.
network, because they'll vouch for you. Yeah.
Okay, so leverage on your good relationships, leverage on your network, leverage on the people that you know. It could even be your family members who are not part of your business associates, right? But it must have also been that there must be certain criteria that they could have trusted. They feel that they could trust you to like lend you the extra help and the extra hand, right? And being in business, isn't it that different? I mean, that is crucial in business.
Yeah, I think Corona really kind of gave us all as a human race this sense of humanity and this unity, because when I was reaching out to people, they were like, hey, here's another entrepreneur just trying to figure out this Corona thing, just like I am, and just like this guy is. And hey, let me try to help him because I can, and whatever.
Yeah, okay. It's like everyone's just trying to reach out to everyone to support each other in your entrepreneur space, right? Is there anything that you feel that you had when you review 2020, anything else that you've learned about yourself? Like you did say this, is there anything else about anything? Business management, money, people, relationships, the future? Tell us. Time for you to dive in to
Anything
look.
anything else that I learned this past year, or I'm predicting for the future?
Talk about the past and then talk about the future.
Yeah, I definitely learned from this past year that if I have enough conviction to my mission, I you'll get there, and someone will get there. There'll be a different route, but as soon as it's not it's hey, I want to get, or I'm gonna weigh this much, I'm gonna get fit, and it's raining outside. Just because it's raining, I mean, and I can't go for a run, that's whatever, but I can work out here at home, and I'll just figure out another way to get to that goal. And as long as I have that mentality amongst me, like I just need people to hold me to that mentality, because I know that's what I need to overcome what's coming in 2021.
And I think that's a big deal because you know, you hear people giving up. You hear people at the edge of their mental or their, you know, because of different forces, right? It could be financial, relationship, people in lockdown in long periods. And you know, I think this sharing of yours, even though it just has been like 35 minutes or so, I think it's been tremendous because if I were to summarize and encapsulate it in a couple of sentences, your pivoting of a business model was successful, and I think not only that, because of the mental, with it, it's a really an unseen strength, the belief, the belief that you have to make it, the belief that you're facing an enemy. It's just like the Tom Cruise running, running, running. You know, you got to really jump. There's nothing below. At the edge of the building, you got to jump. You know, you're at the cliff, right? And I think when people are being chased by this invisible enemy, and you gave a good concept of that, it could be real, it could be imagined, but you will really push yourself to the limit of performance that you had not seen yourself before. And also like what you say, you know, having the support of people was very important. You know, they give you the mental strength and additional mental strength in the midst of changing and pivoting the model. And I think these are the tips that people should take home with, you know, listening to you. And also I think being in sales is it's where the action is. It's really like different from like running a huge corporation, right? That's where the action is, because you are actually bringing back the bread and butter, and you're not like an investor sitting in the office and ringing and say that, hey, when are the sales coming in? Because you're at the forefront of a battlefield. The people, the shareholders, the investors, they are waiting for the boss, who are actually the salespeople, to bring back the bread. Am I right to say that? So if I were to look at it that way, not only you were an entrepreneur yourself, and kudos to the 8 people that worked with, and they had like doubling and tripling of their sales. But if you look at it that way, and I've always thought, and I've always have good respects for people who are in sales, because that's where the battle is being fought. You know, because if you're in a microcosm of a company, you've got all these forces coming to you, right? You've got the competitors, you've got your supply, right? You've got your customers, and you are there bringing back the bread, the money. Okay, it's like it's almost like the father of a family. You got to go there and work it out. You got to bring back the bread. And of course, the way you said it, you're such a cool guy. You say in such a non-dramatic manner, but I could imagine it in my mind, like, oh my God, for 2.5 months, I gotta be out there. And people who are risk takers. And this group of 8 people, I think the pandemic told us either you are a risk averse or you're a risk taker. So you guys take on the full risk. So people who stayed are people who showed up, they raised their hands, they say, I choose myself, right? They came in and they say that I'm gonna choose myself. I'm not gonna like take a $2,000 check, which is it could be so easy, right? And rather than fight the battle and going into the unknown, of crisis, of a pandemic or unknown. But because the view of the world of these 8 people, including yourself, was so different because you thought that you got to just do it, just make that huge leapfrog like never before. And you know what? 2020, you make the huge leap and you did it and you landed. And I think you landed successfully. And your story is something for you to tell. I think not only to me, to the listeners, but it's something for you as your training manual. And I'm not kidding you. It's a training manual for your team and for people who are facing future crisis. So this is something that I could conclude about what you have told me. And I think it's a drama. It's not something that it's like so relaxed. Okay, I'm gonna smoke my cigar. But you guys are in the battlefield, right? Um, I'm so glad, and I like to, and a hats off to you that you made that leap of faith and you landed safely and with great results to show. Now, tell us now to the future. What do you see?
What do I see? Well, there's a lot more confidence that I can cover, because it is an industry where we're constantly rebuilding, and yeah, I just, what do I see for the next year? I just see us all coming back stronger and just really well trained for the battle that we're going into.
Yeah. And bring back the bread. Yeah. Is there any other 3 tips that you want to share in concrete things that you want to share, like, the final conclusion you've got? Any 3 tips?
Not to deviate away from what we talked about. I'll just repeat the burning of the boats. The more you're risking, the better. Your environment and an enemy. You can get these 3 things right. You will breed high performance.
Okay. Now let's deviate from where we want to talk. I want you to share other things that you have seen and other things that you think is worthy for you to share with us.
Of tips and lessons.
Anything.
Oof, tips and lessons.
You slept on the couch of your friends, right? Because they were helping you out
On the floor.
on the floor. So
Yeah.
this camaraderie amongst people, how important is it through a crisis?
Yeah, I mean, you're never going to accomplish anything great by yourself, ever.
Well,
And
coach.
so when you are doing things, yeah, when you are doing things by yourself, yeah, just look to impact more people, look to include more people, you know, be bold, don't be ashamed, don't be small, don't hide, be you and love it, be proud of it.
Thank you so much. Ryan, I want to thank you for your wonderful story. Even though you made it so cool, you're speaking like as if you have this invisible cigar. But I believe your story has been like when you're in it, it could be like so riveting because you are in it. You are like going like go 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 guys. Let's like jump across. I can't even imagine all these untold stories of the pandemic. And I want to thank you for sharing these tips. The invisible enemy, the environment, and people, not doing it alone, which is quite hard because we're talking about social distancing.
Yeah.
But post-pandemic, I think hopefully, with 2021, I mean the hope is there. We're trying to manufacture this hope that when the clock strikes 12 and it goes into the 1st of January 2021, everything cools down. I don't know when that's going to happen, but it still takes time, right? Everybody's thinking, okay, when the clock ticks, okay, the Cinderella dress, all right? So I'm not sure that's going to happen. It's still going to take a long time for us to really move out of this zone, of this gray area. So I want to thank you, Ryan, and I would like to invite you again to update us your story post-pandemic. That would be really interesting. Let's see, the sequel.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd love to. That'd be a ton of fun.
After jumping
Thank you so
from
much
the
for having me.
cliff from one side, I can just imagine, and then run, and then make the jump, guys, and then landing it safely. And then now you want to continue another journey. So I want to wish you all the best, and thanks for sharing this pivoting story. I think it should be in the management book, and I think a lot of people have not realized motivation, performance is so critical for business success. Because you're talking about people, we're not working with AI. We're not tuning in the data. I think a lot of emphasis have been talking about data, business analytics. They've forgotten that human factor, that part of going back to the basics about that human spirit, about the camaraderie, about coming together, supporting each other, and then going forward as a team, as a group. I think that has been forgotten. And I think in a pandemic, because of the situation of a pandemic, people are in lockdown. They couldn't reach out. They've forgotten that, they could reach out for help, even virtually. And I think that if this is going to prolong, Brian, and if 12 midnight starts, we're into 1st of January 2021 in 9 days time, ding, things are still the same. Whatever we hope for didn't happen. Your story will become like a classic, and I think that performance thing, the mental health is going to be something that people is going to have to be the only resource that power them through 2021.
Absolutely, totally agree.
Yeah, thank you so much.
You said it really well.
Yeah, thank you so much to you and your team of people, and please tell them I share my gratitude to you and your team for this hope that you're shining to the world to say that, hey, there's ways of pivoting. Let's come together, guys, with social distancing. Let's come together, guys, and then let's make the leap into 2021. Thank you so much, Brian.
I love it. Thank you so much for having me. And I look forward to the next one.
Yeah. Okay, we'd like to check in on you and how things are going in 2021. Thank you. Bye.
Bye now.
Okay, bye. We'll talk again.